Hey folks, and welcome to the Pipnotic Symposium for the 15th of July 2021. A couple of questions came in regarding the supply and demand software. There are a couple of settings and I just want to go over those just to clarify any confusion there. Okay, so the settings are in two pieces of software. They're in the supply and demand software and the buy and the sell zone algo trader. Okay, so we'll just use the supply and demand software as the example here. Here. Okay, so this section here we have origin only supply and demand. I mean, what does that mean? Well, origin only supply and demand is supply and demand that is located at an origin. And so if you consider what an origin is, let's say you have price that goes up and down. Okay, so let's say that we have an area that goes like this, a swing up, swing down, swing up, then a swing down, sideways movement, and then a plummet like this. Okay, so origin only supply and demand is going to be located at origins only. Okay, so this is an origin, this is an origin, this is not an origin. So it's going to be looking at the more extreme areas. So if you look at this price structure just here, let me remove these and go like this. We'll use this example here. So if we look at this, we have okay, so this would be an origin, this would be an origin. So what the settings are doing is they're telling us a little bit of information about the origin. So if we have a look here, we have origin only. So it's telling us first of all that we want to display origin only supply and demand, yes or no. The default setting is set to false. The origin significant, that is telling us how many periods of respect on either side of the swing do we want price to respect. So if you have this bar just here, we want this bar here to be lower and this bar here to be lower. And so this bar here is lower than the high of this bar, and this bar here is lower than the high. So this is qualified as an origin only. Okay, and here you can see let's just change that to true and then see how it changes the behavior of the software. You can see that a lot of the areas disappeared. Okay, so the ones that are left are this one here, because we had this area here, there was respect on this side and this side, and price distributed and then left, price tested, went a little bit deeper, liquidity exploration, and then price finally left. But this one did not get qualified because of the settings that we have. So let's have a look at the settings. Set to true, origin only, 1, so we want 1 respect on each side. And opposing swing point significance. See, this is an important one because this is telling us a little bit about the behavior of, let's say, this area of supply. So when price leaves here, we want it to move beyond an opposing origin. Okay, so when price leaves here, we want it to move beyond. This. Okay, so when price left here, it has to move lower than the previous swing low. And when this happens, then you know that there's strength, because if you have a price structure that goes like this, and goes like that, the fact that price turned here, and then finally moves beyond, it's telling us that we have buying pressure here, we have buying pressure here, so we have willing buyers at this price point. And the fact that price was able to move beyond that tells us something about the area of supply just up here. It tells us this is a good area. Okay, and you can see that we had, if I just go back, if you can see here that we had a tiny little area here, not very visible on this time frame, but we had one test. Let me zoom in so it's clearer. There. So we had one test here, one test here. Draw that area in. Okay, and this one here removed it. So the fact that price moved from here through these two is telling us something about the strength of this. This is a good area. We tested it once, almost, and then we went through. We rallied, we moved below it, we went beyond it, and then we saw huge selling. So when price moves into or beyond an area of supply like this that is strong enough to move beyond a historically respected price point, well, that's telling us about something about the strength of a given area. Okay, I hope that's clear. Let's see what other settings we have there. We got this one. Okay, here, so you can see here we have the origin only set to true, origin significant set to 1, and this one here is being used by the software per default. Okay, and so we can set this to false, and we can leave this here. Wait, where is it? Here it is. We can set this one to a higher value in just a second. So let's just switch everything on and see how we do. Okay, so now we have a bunch of different areas, and now because we're seeing more price, okay, so we have these historical areas that are further left. So if we go here and we say to the software, well, actually we want to see areas that were removed that had a significance of 5. I mean, that's a lot. We have a swing point where we have 5 periods to the left of respect and 5 periods to the right of respect for a price point. I mean, that's a lot. So let's just see how this changes the configuration, the appearance of the results. Okay, you can see that, I mean, there are quite a few areas that are now gone. Okay, when price left here, we moved below this one. That's a pretty important one because price came down to it and we left, and we traded above this price point for quite a long period of time. This one removed it. Very important area. We had this one here as well. We had this this buy zone as a child, another child. So there's something, this price point here, price goes up, we move sideways, and we test the area here once, twice. So you can see here that the plate of pancakes getting smaller. We take the first pancake, the second pancake, and this one moves through it. And here we have a significant respect for this price point historically. This one moves through it. This is where we see the reaction. The same thing for this one here and this one here, which is yet to be tested. The one that this area removed was this one here. Okay, so price came down and we turned around. When price came down here, we moved beyond here. That tells us there's a lot of buying, a lot of willing interest to buy at this price point. This one caused price to move beyond that. So we actually had, if you turn this like this, you can see that we had a lot of closes at this price point. Price close. We did not manage to close beyond that price point. Okay, a lot of testing of that area. This one removed it. So this is the one that's interesting for us to sell at. So this is where this trade will get out should this trade work out and not decide to go a little bit lower. Okay, so this is what these settings are for. And there was another setting, another question to a couple more settings we'll touch on. Here. Okay, the minimum swing significant, maximum swing significant. What this is doing is it is used when drawing the trend line. So what it is telling the software is that we want the software to draw trend lines on swing points that have minimum 5 periods of respect on either side, maximum 21. And so this one had loads to the left and lows to the right. This one had at least 5. Okay, and so we don't want swings that have 1 pair on each side because they're not important enough, but 5, I mean, that's a lot. 2 on each side is a traditional Bill Williams fractal here refers to them. So a swing point where you have 2 lower highs to the left and 2 lower highs to the right for a swing high, and 2 higher lows to the left and to the right for a swing low. So if you're setting this to 5, I mean, that's more than a traditional fractal or a swing point. Okay, so this is a decent place to attach a trend line point. And when you have one that's 21, I mean, that's a ton. I mean, this one is a huge one because we have lows to the left and lows to the right. This is potentially, or this is just a lot more. Okay, and so that's what these two are doing. And so if you want, for example, 2 and 2, if you do that, well, then it's gonna find no less and no more than 2 on either side. So let's just see how that affects the software. So it didn't do anything there. So let's go to a different time frame. See if we can find something. Okay, and here we have this one here, and we have this one here. So we have 1, 2, 1, 2, and this one here, 1, 2, and 1, 2. So this is the trend line. Okay, but that's not enough. I like to see the significant swing points, and so we'll change this back to where are we? Here, 5 and 21. Okay, and that's what that does. Actually, matter of fact, I'm going to put this right there because this price nodule here. Okay, cool. So that's what those do. I hope that's clear. Otherwise, let me know and I'll have another go. Okay, and in the default configuration, you can see here that we had prices turning at this point. We had, I love these, prices moving lower. The underlying strength of these two currencies relative to one another is not doing the same thing. What does that tell us? Well, this is the marketplace. This is the intention. Okay, so this is what's going on in the market. We are looking for buyers. Okay, so we're advertising cheaper prices. So this is liquidity exploration. Prices wriggling lower. This is the intention. The intention is to buy. So this is what you're seeing here on the price chart. This is what's happening with the underlying, I suppose, market microstructure, what's going on in the marketplace. And so here you can see that price broke out above this range. We came back down to this area of demand. Price tested it. We shot north, respected this one, removed it. So this is the one we trade now. Okay, and there's a little price nodule here on the hourly chart that we might react at before we get to this 4-hour supply. Okay, so this is how you can use the histogram as well, combined with the supply and demand software. Okay, so let's have a look at the ASR now, because there are also some questions about the ASR. So I just enable that, the ASR Algo Trader. Okay, so now we have the ASR switched on. It's not running, but it is attached to this chart, and we shan't run the ASR. But I just want to show you a little bit about a way you can manually confirm a trade before switching on the ASR. And so the ASR is essentially looking for this. When we have the histogram moving beyond a level like this one here, this is 1 times this is 1 times the volatility of the histogram just here. Okay, and then we start to paint these green dots, and these green dots are really interesting because when they start to paint the green dots, we're seeing the exact same thing as we saw on the other chart, which is divergence. But this is bar by bar divergence, which is also very powerful. Okay, and so you can see prices going lower, but the underlying strength of, in this case, the euro American dollar is not doing the same thing. It's not doing that. Okay, so when you start to see stuff like this, well, then you can see that, okay, there's a discrepancy in the price and the value. And so when this bar here closed, you could see this dot would appear. And so this is telling us, okay, so we have prices going lower, but we have histogram data that is moving higher. So this is telling us that we are looking to begin to move higher. Okay, and the cool thing about this is when you have multiple time frames next to each other, okay, let's just use this one for the sake of example. So we have this one here. I'm just going to mark off where the first dot was drawn. It was drawn here, and another one was here. If you go down now to the hourly, which could be, for example, the entry time frame, then we'll look for something to be going on at these extremes. So this is where we started to see those signals. We want to see similar signals in this kind of a range, this area here. Okay, and we got very close to it here. We did not quite get beyond the dotted line here, but we certainly did right here. Okay, so the dot on the daily chart was drawn here, and the dot on the hourly chart was drawn here. I'm just going to change the color so it's white, so it represents the colors that we all know. Okay, so this is really powerful because you know that, well, we had price versus value discrepancy on the daily occurring here and here, and on the 1 hour, which is a refined price window, we started to get the same thing here. So that is giving us confirmation to buy at this area of demand just here. And even if there isn't an area of demand here, you can go to a smaller time frame and you can find it, because there will always be one, especially when price moves away like that. Okay, and then price comes back, the slingshot is pulled back to this area of demand, and then it leaves. Okay, so this is a really powerful way to do it, and you can just do this by moving through the charts one by one. And I love to do that because it really slows things down. And so I have been in my mind thinking of a way to incorporate this in the ASR, where we would actually be looking for alignment on several time frames. For example, 2 time frames. So the major time frame would be the daily, and we'll be looking for example, 1 hour divergence, bar to bar divergence occurring after the daily divergence has occurred. This would be super, super powerful. So if we just grab any old pair, let's try the euro pound. We can just walk through several and see if we can find just a really nice example. And we probably have something down here. So let's have a look. No, we didn't see anything there. Let's see if we saw something. Okay, so we had something here. Let's just use this as an example. So we'll put a dot on it. Let's go like that. I don't know if we have enough data to get us back that far. I'm thinking not. Let's see. All right, found it. So here we have it. And we don't have histogram data. Let me see if I can force the histogram to draw. Where's manual bar count? Now we can't see the histogram all the way back here because it's quite a long time ago. But you can see, judging by the price action here, that we would have had divergence going on here, where we had we had high runs in price, and we likely had the opposite happening here on the histogram. Okay, so we got the signal here. On the hourly, we had the daily was occurring right here. It could have been kind of anywhere within this window, like around here, because this is just 1 hour. We don't know if it was this hour or this hour that did it, but with these, we're seeing alignment is what I'm trying to say. We're seeing alignment on the daily and on the 1 hour chart. Okay, so if you're getting that on the daily chart, jump down to the smaller time frame and look for a place to get in. Okay, and we had a buy zone here. Okay, so we had this price, the slingshot was pulled back, it went up, price came down, the slingshot was pulled back, so we have something in here. I don't know where it was. Let's just go up to the top, something like that. Okay, this is a decent price went a little bit deeper, and this is where price turned around. Okay, and this happened at a place where we were seeing bar by bar divergence on the daily chart, which is super powerful. Okay, so that's just another way to use the software. Boom. Let's just run through a couple of examples as well. So let's go to the Euro Aussie. So you can actually do this relatively quickly. See, we probably saw something up here, potentially. Let's see what the histogram is telling us. Not quite. How far away is it? It's still quite far away. But here we saw it here. We saw it on the 4 hour chart. It was occurring right here on this white candle right there. So on that white candle, let's just mark that off. And now we'll go down to the 1 hour, and we'll look for the same thing to occur. Okay, so let's wait for it to load. Okay, well, we didn't get divergence, but we got a very high histogram, well beyond the dotted line. This is, I'm not sure how far this is. Let's see. This is a very deep push higher. So let's have a look where we hit. Yeah, I mean, we're up into the sell territory by far. Price goes up there, 4 hour supply, 4 hour bar by bar bearish divergence occurring. We formed an area of supply there. What's going to happen? We don't know. Where's the buy zone? We have this. And we have a buy zone. Sorry, a sell zone. The sell zone is here. Okay, so this could be really interesting to see what happens once price comes back up to this price point. This area has been removed. Price is wriggling lower. We form this base, this 1 hour demand. Price is testing it nicely. We had this one. See, this one, this is a difficult one to get through because last time price was there, we saw a very nice rejection that actually drove price through this demand, which is responsible for moving price above this high. Okay, and above this, which is a sell zone. You can see the sell zone edge just here. This one tore it out. And so if price moves above this, then we have likely a keen interest to sell from around the 159.31 area. We'll have to see. But this is how you can use these tools to find these entries. And the cool thing about it is that as you don't have to spend too much time on it. You don't have to overcomplicate things. You can simply click through. So we'll go to the Euro Swiss franc and we'll see what the Euro Swiss franc is doing. And notice the Euro Swiss franc is pretty low. So we're probably going to see something going on here. Okay, so on the daily chart, we're right at an area of demand. You can see, let's have a look at the demand. This one here, okay, so very nice area of demand. We had this one here that was tested. We went through it, we didn't close above it. Now it's gone. Which area did it? This one here did, and now we're right at it. Okay, and we just entered the buy zone just here according to the histogram. So going here, where are we seeing these signals? We're seeing the signals. We got the first one here, and we're getting another one here. Okay, and you'll notice yesterday the robot bought right here. The ASR bought just here, just actually exactly where price is, and price went up. We were in profit, and we reacted to a 1 hour supply, which was, it's not in this configuration. Let me see. Boom. Nah, that doesn't matter. But we reacted at this area of supply just here, and now price is sitting there. We don't know what's going to happen. Is price going to move higher? We don't know. But judging by what we can see here, and what we can see here, we're in the buy zone. This is the origin of this really big move high that removed all of these highs. So we had a sell zone historically over here, somewhere around here to the left, and it was removed by this. Boom. So this is the one that's in play, and price is at it now. Okay, so super powerful and super simple at the same time. Also notice here, we can see what? We can see this. This is the hourly. Alarm, buy. We had another run. Buy. Okay, so we're being told. We're told here to buy. We're told here to buy. Okay, now price finally went up, and now we're down. And what are we doing now? Well, we're probably going to start some liquidity exploration now, which means that price is going to be maybe sent lower in an attempt to attract buyers to find those pending limit orders at this daily demand required to drive price to an opposing market reference point, which we have just here. Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to leave it at that. I hope this helped answer those questions that came in. If not, let me know and I'll have another go. And once again, thank